The Samsung Galaxy A04s is Samsung's recent budget offering for the entry-level A series, sporting a more improved design and major improvements in specifications when compared to its predecessor. We are getting an upgraded 50-megapixel main camera, the Exynos A13 processor, and the highlight for me has to be the presence of a 90Hz refresh rate display, and it is affordable. The Galaxy A04s might just be the better value for money. The Samsung Galaxy A04s is a successor to the A03s from last year, which I also reviewed. You can go check that out, and probably every other A series device I've covered so far on this channel. Yeah, I'd say I've reviewed most, if not all of them released so far this year. Back to the A04s. It looks very identical to the A13, with the only difference being in the color options and what seems to be a pattern on the rear. But you can hardly tell them apart, and that's actually a good thing if you are looking to save some money but love the A13's design. For starters, this retails at a starting price of 102,500 naira for the base version, which has 4 gigs of RAM and 64 gigs of internal storage. You can actually find a good deal on Jumia right now for 96k. I'm not sure how long that price will remain there. That is somewhere around $120 if I'm correct. Now for the unboxing experience, I'd say it's pretty straightforward, and the box contains the essential accessories except earphones. Also no protective casing. Design wise, like we already established, this looks like a replica of the A13 except that there's a slight texture on the rear, but I'd say it's still mostly glossy. But it's a nice device on the hands. It comes in 3 colors, green, black and white. Green here. Like most devices for this region, the Galaxy A04s accepts dual nano SIM cards and gets an extra slot for a micro SD card. Now this can be seen as a major upgrade to the A03s from last year, merely looking at its specs. I like that the base version for this region this time has 4 gigs of RAM and 64 gigs of storage. So performance will be just as expected for this price point, with barely any concerns about multitasking. The Exynos 850 powering the A04s is fitting here if you ask me. Unlike the A13, it doesn't get the demanding high-resolution 1080p display, but rather a good-looking 720p display, which should put less demand on the processor and give smoother experience all around, especially since it gets 90Hz screen refresh rate. It's a water drop notch style as we normally see on the budget end of Samsung's A series. It doesn't get Gorilla Glass 5, but it's still quite a tough one. It might interest you to know that the Galaxy A04s is probably the cheapest Samsung phone to fix should you damage the display. It costs just 12,500 naira to fix. That's somewhere under $20, and it doesn't need to be registered for Samsung Care Plus, so no worries about Samsung screens being expensive to fix. The A04s supports 15 watts fast charging via USB-C, and it packs a 5000 mAh battery capacity. From my experience, battery life here is no worries, as you will find this to last you at least a day of use. While it may be an entry-level device, this has enough power to handle your regular tasks, including multitasking. It runs on Android 12 and One UI 4.1 core version. That is to say, you will get the basic One UI experience with the exception of a few features like secure folder, edge panel, and some other advanced features reserved for the higher A series and flagships. You do get Smart View here, so no worries about connecting this to your TV. The software experience is as expected of a Samsung device and easily one of the best for this price point. 90Hz refresh rate makes it smoother operating the Galaxy A04s. We can also expect at least 2 to 3 years of major OS upgrades here. The Galaxy A04s gets a side-mounted fingerprint scanner which does the job of securing and unlocking the device as needed. It also doubles as the power button. For gaming, I'll say keep your expectations at a minimum, because the Exynos 850, while a really good processor, for this price point is not one for gaming. Actually, at this price point, you shouldn't be looking to do any heavy gaming, but it will handle low graphics for the most part. As long as you keep your expectations low on the gaming aspect, you should be pretty satisfied with the performance of the A04s. I actually like that performance-wise you can compare it to the A13 thanks to the same 8nm Exynos processor, that is the Exynos 850 of course. Now another area where the Samsung Galaxy A04s impresses is its cameras. It supports an upgraded configuration from its predecessor, hosting a 50-megapixel main camera alongside a macro and depth sensor. The selfie camera remains 5 megapixels. It actually does well with photos as you get them sharp and with good colors. Also does decent on HDR, although it could be a hit or miss when there is a human subject. But when it hits, you get impressive results, including with portraits. The selfie camera, while just 5 megapixel, actually does decent and produces good selfies with the right lighting. As long as you have your lighting conditions right, it will meet and probably exceed your expectations for an entry-level Android device. For video, it can shoot 1080p from both the selfie and the rear cameras. So this is the Samsung Galaxy A04s testing out its selfie camera, 5 megapixel selfie camera, shooting 1080p 30 frames per second, and that is Fred of Fred's Tech Hub. Is making content iPhone versus 14 Pro Max versus Samsung S22 Ultra. I think it's a zoom test, so yeah, definitely the iPhone is losing that one. The Samsung Galaxy A04s is a proper upgrade to the A03s, and I like that it's very close in the specifications to the higher A13 while offering a higher refresh rate display and being more affordable. This is a good option if you want a solid device with stable software, decent cameras, and don't wish to break the bank. That is all from me. Peace.